Hey sweeties, welcome back. Today we're making a Spider-Man cake, but I'm sure you've already seen that in the title, so I know you're here for all the good stuff. So let's get going. I've already pre-mixed my buttercream with our Color Mill Royal Blue food coloring. Color Mill is a great food coloring to go into buttercream because it is oil-based and it gives that buttercream a really solid color and it's super vibrant. I'm gonna start by icing the cake with the blue. And then we're gonna go through and smooth that on the top first. Add a generous coat of buttercream because we're not adding a crumb coat. I've already set my cake that I've already baked. It's a 5-inch vanilla cake filled with layers of vanilla buttercream. I've already set my cake for 3 hours in the fridge so it's nice and solid so then we don't have any issues with the crumbs showing through. So for this cake, I want to do a rustic edge on the top, which means I'm leaving my buttercream piled up on the edge like this instead of smoothing it out, just because it gives it a more rustic look with the red for Spider-Man. But it is a bit too much of a lip. So when I want a rustic edge but it is too high, I just take off some of the buttercream, but leave some of it on there. So as you can see, I'm not tidying up that edge fully. And then I'm smoothing out the top again, and you'll notice the buttercream will now overhang again. That's when I'm gonna go ahead and use my scraper to now pull up that edge again, and it should be less than before, and it looks a bit neater. So as you can see, I've got a great edge on the top here without it being too high or too messy from our first initial buttercream layer. And it just looks really cool and something different than normal. I love leaving a rough edge on these cakes that have the characters on them, but especially when you got the bright colors, like the red on the base, it's just gonna be the perfect contrast and looks super cool. Now I'm gonna go in with my red buttercream, which has also been colored with Color Mill Red. That is my favorite red food coloring, so I definitely recommend you get on these colors if you like a very vibrant buttercream like I do. And I'm just gonna add this on the bottom of the cake. If you do have time, it is best to set the cake before adding the next layer of icing. As you can see, I'm gonna be adding it straight away just because we're filming the video, but if I had time and I was making this for an order, I would definitely let that base buttercream set for at least half an hour just so you don't smudge any of the blue. When you're adding on the next color, which in this case I've used the red, it's really important not to try and get it too symmetrical because you wanna add some texture and variety. Now I'm going in with a textured comb. These are a must in a beginner's toolkit. They can make any cake look so cool with just one easy swipe of this texture comb. I got this from Golden Joy Bakeware in Melbourne, but there's so many online, so many different companies make these in different sizes and textures, but they're definitely really important for making texture and keeping it looking very consistent. All you're gonna do is line it up on the side of your cake and slowly turn, and you just wanna make sure you're only hitting the red here. You don't wanna hit any of that blue, beautiful, smooth buttercream that we've already worked on. And we're gonna keep going around until it's nice and smooth all the way around. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up some of that red buttercream from the board. As you can see, red and blue colors are super messy, so make sure you keep a cloth nearby so you can wipe it off your bench straight away so you don't get any staining with the food coloring. If only we could create food coloring that doesn't stain. So for my character cakes, I really like to use a cake topper company that makes me these toppers, and they're ready to go, and all I have to do is hot glue gun a stick on the back. And I love these clear sticks that I buy on eBay. It looks so much nicer than a skewer, so I definitely recommend ordering some of these on eBay and having them on hand for any of your character toppers because it looks so much better with the clear stick instead of something solid. If you find yourself a good local company that can make your cake toppers, these look extra amazing on the cakes because they're so vivid from how they print the paper. I find it does look more effective than printing them on edible prints. And let's be honest, no one's really gonna eat the whole Spider-Man anyway if it's all edible because it's gonna be just sugar overload. So I definitely recommend finding someone you can partner up with that you can order all your supplies and images through because I find these look extra amazing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add my topper in because then it gives us some bearings to work around. And I've got a box packaging piping bag. These are my favorite piping bags because they are really easy to use, they don't break, and they come in bulk packs, so I always have them on hand. And I'm using a piping tip, a Loyal 195, which is just kind of a spiky piping tip, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of piping and sprinkles around the cake for some extra decoration. I'm just going in with the blue buttercream for my piping, but of course if you'd like, you could do 2 colors or as many colors as you'd like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly squeeze and try and make these a few different sizes. Of course, if you have any mistakes, you can cover easily with piping, especially on the seams of your buttercream where you've finished off. I like to add some just to take away from that. So I usually like to do like one randomly and then a few clusters of 2. And if you'd like, you could also add some lollies or chocolates at this stage, which looks really cool if you want to go the extra mile. Now that my piping's all on the cake, I'm just going to go ahead and add some sprinkles. I've got 2 different shades of blue and red in here. And I'm not going to put them everywhere, but I'm just going to kind of put them in little piles just so it doesn't look overdone. Because there's a lot going on already on a small cake. Now I just hold a small amount in kind of like a spider grip. And I just kind of do small little bundles near the piping. This is where I full pretend I'm Spider-Man, like throwing the sprinkles at the cake as if it was like webs, and I can live out my childhood dreams.
You wanted to be Spider-Man?
Everyone wanted to be Spider-Man, didn't they?
Good answer.
Make sure to leave a comment below with your favorite superhero, and the one that gets the most likes, I'll make a cake using that character and I'll give a shout out to you in the video. It's great to keep practicing your sprinkle placement because it can really make or break a cake. If you're throwing sprinkles all over the place, sometimes it can look a bit chaotic, which sometimes is okay for some designs, and then for others it looks better for that special sprinkle placement. So remember that Spidey grip every time you're... Can't take that serious. So remember that Spidey grip every time you're putting on those sprinkles, and you'll be sure to have the perfect placement every time. And that's how easy it was to make our super Spidey Spider-Man cake. So if you loved it, I'd love to hear your comments below, and also tag me on Instagram and TikTok at Caitlin Matheson. And until then, stay Spidey.